Guys, I can't stress enough the importance of having a good chainsaw. Chainsaw is going to come in handy. It's going to be a preparedness tool, a homesteading tool, and pretty much your jack of all trades when it comes to tools in your tool belt. And what I'm going to be reviewing today is the Husqvarna 455 Rancher with X Torque technology. Let's dive into it. So just a quick rundown on the obvious specifications of this saw. The 455 Rancher has a 55.5 cc engine, which brings you to around 3.5 horsepower. It comes with an 18 or 20-inch bar. This particular saw has the 18-inch bar. Now do realize that if you go to the 20-inch bar or a larger bar, you are going to lose a little bit of power with that, because the longer your chain has to travel, the more power it's going to take to make that chain travel. The saw comes with your typical chain brake. It comes with a choking system for starting. The saw starts very, very easily, which is something that I like about this saw. Even sitting out in single-digit temperatures, I've been able to get this saw started without any problems. Now, you're probably wondering what the X Torque technology is. So X Torque technology is basically a very small addition to the scavenging system. So on a two-cycle engine, you're going to have the scavenging happening during the power stroke. And when that happens, the engine is built in a way that allows a small air barrier to be created with the leaving exhaust, and that air barrier allows leftover unburned fuel to remain in the combustion chamber, so that when the power stroke happens again, it's actually burning that fuel that was left over. And this actually creates more torque for the engine, more power, and at the same time uses less fuel. So it's actually kind of a cool technology. And I'll be honest, pretty much every new saw comes with this kind of technology. It's just labeled a little bit differently depending on the brand. And so that's really all that is. Nothing super special, but I just wanted to point that out. So I've been using this 455 Rancher now as my primary chainsaw for a little over 2.5 years, and I haven't had any major problems with the saw. One of the things I do not like about this is that the bar that this saw uses is very unforgiving. In other words, if you get something caught in your chain, the bar will bind up because the tolerances in the grooves on the bar are very tight. And so that does lead sometimes to some problems depending on what kind of brush you're in, or if you're cutting in areas where a brush might get caught in there and get caught up and cause the chain to fall off of the bar. The other thing is this, the bar brake. If the bar brake is engaged when you take the cover off to do maintenance, then you need a special tool to reset it. I don't know why they did this. Super annoying, but it is there. But most of the time, if you have the chain brake engaged, you cannot take off that cover. It won't actually come off. So there is that kind of safety there to make sure that cover doesn't come off. And so you don't have to really worry about it too much. I haven't had any problems. You can get that tool for around 30 bucks on eBay or Amazon. Now, as far as the weight goes, you definitely can get a little bit of a workout lifting this thing. It comes in about 17 pounds wet, meaning full of fuel and bar and chain oil. It does get a little bit heavy carrying it around. It's a good way to build up a little bit of muscle, though. If you're into that, you can kind of knock two birds out with one stone operating this saw. So I want to add one other note to this review, and that is this saw is very loud, coming in at 115 decibels when operating wide open. And you do get the torque and the power, 9,000 RPMs, but boy, oh boy, is this thing loud. And in comparison, a 22 long rifle is going to be around 130, 140 decibels, and an AR-15 is 155 decibels on up. So I'm finding myself definitely having to double up on ear protection with this thing, putting in earplugs along with my ear muffs. So just be prepared for a loud saw if you're going to be doing a lot of cutting throughout the day. So to bring this thing to a closeout, I just want to say that if you're looking for that jack of all trades chainsaw, that chainsaw that you can just trudge through the mud, leave outside in the cold and rain, and still have it work when you come pick it back up, it's kind of the AK-47 of chainsaws, and which is really what I like about this is you don't have to worry about kind of babying it too much. You can cut through just about any kind of wood with this thing. I've cut some pretty serious logs and trees with this saw and haven't had any major problems. So again, if you're looking for just an all outright tough saw, definitely recommend the Husqvarna 455 Rancher.